At Redwood Creek Station, we manage 43 designated campsites. 42 of them fill up every weekend. The 43rd, Campsite 7, hasn't had a guest in 9 years. Not because it's closed, because we don't let anyone stay there. Ranger Sofia Reyes delivers the line like a formality, calm even, the way she recites weather data or trail conditions. Behind her, the hum of fluorescent lights fills the narrow operations room, its walls lined with topographic maps and rain gear still damp from the morning patrol. On the workstation screen, the reservation grid glows pale green and red. Campsites 1 through 6, reserved. Campsites 8 through 43, reserved. And in the middle, a single box stands out, 7, available, all dates. The cursor hovers there for a moment, before drifting away, as if even the computer understands not to click. Reyes leans back in her chair, the fabric of her ranger jacket creasing at the elbows. "We get calls about it sometimes," she says. "People think it's a glitch or a special access site. We tell them the system's under maintenance. They move on." It's become a rhythm at Redwood Creek. 1 part bureaucracy, 1 part superstition. Nobody writes the rule down, but everyone follows it. Reyes has been here 11 years, long enough to know which questions not to ask. Campsite 7 stays available, she explains to a new seasonal hire. Always has. You offer them 6 or 8 instead. Say it's got a better view of the creek. They'll take it. From the open window, cool air drifts in, carrying the scent of redwood bark and wet moss. Outside, fog seeps between trunks the width of small cars. Even during daylight, the forest here feels dusk-lit, muted greens and browns under a ceiling of mist that never burns off completely. Reyes checks the patrol log. Ranger Delgado is out near the ridge trail. Chen is in maintenance reviewing sensor data. The day feels ordinary, almost dull, but when she glances again at the monitor, the sight of that single green square stirs something, an old unease that never leaves the room for long. Campsite 7, available, all dates. It's not a malfunction, at least not one IT can fix. Field note. Educational insert. Most park reservation systems sync automatically with state databases, updating every few minutes to reflect bookings or cancellations. Occasionally, a ghost listing appears, an entry the local system can't modify because the state registry no longer recognizes it. The result: a campsite that exists on paper but can't be removed, reassigned, or edited. At Redwood Creek, that anomaly just happens to correspond with a real location, a small clearing by the creek, 2 miles from the main trailhead. The surrounding forest creates its own microclimate. Heavy canopy traps moisture, amplifying sound and diffusing light. When fog rolls in, visibility can drop to 10 feet. Rangers joke that dusk arrives an hour early in that valley. Nobody lingers long enough to test it. Reyes saves her notes, the soft click echoing louder than it should in the quiet office. Then, from somewhere deeper in the room, another sound answers back. A faint tap, 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 like keystrokes coming from an idle workstation. She glances toward the row of empty desks. The monitors are dark. The sound stops. On her screen, Campsite 7 flickers once, briefly switching from green to gray, then back to green again. Available. Always available. The Kershaw incident, 2015. The first time someone stayed at Campsite 7 was by accident. It was Memorial Day weekend, 2015, peak season at Redwood Creek. Every site was booked solid weeks in advance. Every site, that is, except one. Somehow, the Kershaw family, David, Ann, and their 2 kids, Emma and Lucas, found an open slot online and reserved it. The reservation went through automatically, bypassing the station's internal blocks. By the time Ranger Maria Delgado noticed the confirmation ping, the family had already checked in at the trailhead. Station log, May 23, 2015, 16:45. Unauthorized booking detected. Site 7, Kershaw party, 4 persons. Radio contact attempt. No response. Dispatched Ranger Chen for interception. Trail empty both directions. The family had already made camp. Radio transcripts. Redwood Creek Station. Live feed. 1930. David Kershaw. All set up here. Kids love it. Beautiful spot. Right by the creek. Ranger Delgado. Copy that, David. Glad you made it in before dark. 2147. David. Hey, is someone else assigned near us? We're hearing people talking just outside the tree line. Delgado. Negative. Only your party in that sector tonight. Might be hikers on the trail. David. Trail's a quarter-mile east. These voices are close. 2203. David, whispering. Footsteps, circling the tent, slow, deliberate. My wife thinks it's wildlife, but it sounds two-legged. Delgado. Copy. Probably deer. Make some noise, they'll scatter. 2214. And Kershaw, voice shaking. It's not deer. There are several. They stop when we stop. 2231. David. Now they're saying our names, all of them, exactly how we say them. Delgado. Stay in the tent. Do not hike in the dark. David. We're not staying, we're leave. 2234. Transmission cuts. Static. 2247 to 018. Multiple call attempts. No reply. Search and recovery. May 24th, 2015, 6:20. Rangers Delgado and Chen found the Kershaw family at dawn. The scene was disturbingly orderly. The tent fully pitched, flashlights still on inside, breakfast gear untouched. The family sat outside in a half-circle facing the creek, eyes open, breathing steady, no response to voices or light. After 90 minutes they began to stir. Anne was the first to speak. They knew our names, even the kids, middle names. We never said them out loud. Medical data showed elevated heart rates, dilated pupils, and short-term memory gaps lasting nearly 6 hours. No injuries, no hypothermia, no signs of intoxication. The 2 children didn't speak for 2 days. Field evidence summary. Footprints, none. Despite clear signs of movement, the ground appeared smooth, as if pressed flat overnight. Watches, all 4, stopped at exactly 2234. Phone recording. 47 minutes of overlapping voices repeating the family's names in identical cadence every 12.3 seconds. Creek. Observed flowing upstream for approximately 3 hours, returning to normal around 8 o'clock. Trees, 3 surrounding trunks, had bark stripped at 6 feet height, forming a near-perfect triangle around the campsite. Educational Insert 2, Auditory Pareidolia and Environmental Mimicry. The human brain is tuned to recognize patterns, especially familiar ones like speech. In forests dense with redwood bark and moisture, sound waves ricochet, blending reflections into rhythmic tones that can trick the ear into hearing words. This effect, known as auditory pareidolia, grows stronger under stress, fatigue, or darkness. Certain birds and mammals are capable of mimicry, imitating human-like patterns of sound. Combined with layered echoes, a simple drip of water can start to feel intelligent, responsive. But natural mimicry has limits. It cannot reproduce multiple unique voices at once. Perfect repetition at fixed time intervals. Names or words never spoken aloud. As for the missing footprints, capillary rebound in saturated soil can erase impressions overnight. Water drawn to the surface through condensation fills each depression, allowing soft earth to heal itself by morning. In Redwood Creek's fog-locked valleys, that process happens faster than anywhere else in the park. none of which, the Rangers noted, explains 4 synchronized watches freezing at the exact moment the radio died. Investigation findings: heart rate telemetry, sustained tachycardia, greater than 120 BPM for 90 minutes, then abrupt normalization. Audio analysis spectrogram, confirmed pulse repetition every 12.3 seconds, consistent with later anomalies. Hydrology, no seismic activity, no damming upstream, no plausible cause for reverse flow. The official report listed the cause as environmental disorientation and stress response. Unofficially, Redwood Creek's rangers stopped debating what to call it. They just knew one thing had changed. That week, Ranger Reyes added a single line to the patrol handbook, penned in her neat, precise handwriting: "No overnight stays beyond the ridge." And without ceremony, Campsite 7 became taboo. Patterns in the static, 2016 to 2018. By the summer of 2016, the Kershaw case had already faded into Ranger folklore, half cautionary tale, half unspoken warning. But when a solo backpacker named James Ortega checked in with a confirmed reservation for Campsite 7, every veteran at Redwood Creek Station froze. The booking had bypassed internal restrictions again. By the time the system flagged it, Ortega was already halfway down the trail. Ranger Marcus Webb, recently transferred from Silver Ridge after the Sector 9 incidents, volunteered to intercept. Field log, June 14, 2016, 17:30. Located Ortega at Campsite 7. Mid-40s, experienced, cooperative. Informed him of drainage issues. Offered to move him to 9. He declined. Said he'd researched the site online. Wanted solitude. I didn't push. The sun dipped behind the redwood canopy, and Webb hiked back to the trail junction. By 2015, Ortega radioed in. 2015. Evening check-in. All good here. Dinner done. Fire out. Turning in early. 2103. Hey, quick question. Is there a trail that loops behind this site? I'm hearing footsteps on gravel, like someone circling. Webb. Negative. Closest trail's 0.3 miles east. Probably deer. 2147. It stopped walking. But I'm hearing my own voice now. My check-in from earlier. Someone's playing it back. Webb. James, repeat that? Ortega. It's looping. Same tone, same words. Every 12 seconds. 2209. James, pack essentials and head back. I'm on my way. Ortega. It's saying things I didn't say. It's saying what I'm about to say. Static. Then a sharp click. Transmission ends. Webb reached the site just after dawn. Ortega was found 200 yards east of the clearing, sitting against a tree, conscious but mute. His tent and gear were untouched. When he finally spoke 2 hours later, he said, "It said what I was thinking, seconds before I thought it." Forensic data review. GPS movement log, 2211 to 2347. Continuous loop, radius 0.3 miles. Total distance traveled 4.2 miles. Actual displacement from camp, 200 yards. Compass bearing, constant deviation west, fluctuating 18 degrees. Headlamp battery, full charge confirmed at dispatch. Found drained. 0 voltage, no corrosion. Audio log analysis, background static, faint double echo repeating Ortega's words at 12.3 second intervals. It was the same timing as the Kershaw recording. Educational Insert 3. Why instruments fail in the woods. The valley surrounding Redwood Creek forms a natural electromagnetic basin. Quartz and iron deposits in the soil reflect radio and GPS signals back upon themselves, creating what geologists call signal bounce. When a device tries to triangulate position within a reflective basin, its readings loop in circles, sometimes placing a stationary subject miles away, then snapping back in seconds. To a GPS unit, this looks like movement. To the person holding it, it feels like losing time. In moisture-heavy regions, EM distortion grows stronger. Water conducts electricity. Fog thickens radio resistance. Together, they form an invisible wall that drains battery life faster than normal. But even severe interference doesn't explain why multiple devices recorded the same repeating interval, 12.3 seconds, across years and different equipment. After Ortega's ordeal, Ranger Sofia Reyes filed a formal request to close Campsite 7 permanently. Closure request, July 2017. Multiple psychological and electrical anomalies associated with Site 7. Recommend indefinite closure until further evaluation. Response. Regional Supervisor. No substantiated hazard. Recommend improved signage. Campsite remains operational. The following spring, the system glitched again. May 19, 2018, system override. At 2:14 a.m., a new reservation appeared. Site 7. Dates May 25 to 27. User blank. Payment $0. Status confirmed. Attempts to delete or modify it failed. Rangers escalated the issue to IT support. The reply came within minutes. No active account created this entry. Server logs show no user activity during that time frame. On the assigned date, Webb and Reyes hiked to the site at dusk. It was empty. No tents, no gear. But the fire ring was warm, and on the creek bank, someone had carved 3 words into the damp soil. Thank you for 7. No footprints surrounded the message. They closed the trail for 72 hours, citing, quote, wildlife interference. When they reopened it, Campsite 7 vanished from the public reservation map. But in the internal database, it still lingered, green box, always available. Every attempt to delete it ended the same way. The system froze. The cursor blinked, then rebooted. And when the monitor flickered back to life, Campsite 7 glowed green again. Available. All dates. Confirmed, Reyes said quietly. We tried deleting it once. Marcus Webb didn't look up from the screen. What happened? She watched the green square pulse faintly as if breathing. The system crashed. When it rebooted, 7 was still there, green as ever. The unwritten protocol, present day. The Rangers at Redwood Creek Station don't talk about Campsite 7 anymore. They document it. They log it. They mark it on the internal system as available, though none of them would ever assign it. But they don't talk about it. Ranger Sofia Reyes keeps the latest version of the station field manual open on her desk. A section near the back, handwritten, unnumbered, lists what everyone at the station knows by heart. The unwritten protocol. 1. No patrol remains past 1900 hours. 2. Campsite 7 inspections occur in pairs only. 3. No night entries, no solo checks. 4. If footsteps or voices are heard near the site, log the event. Do not respond. 5. If the reservation reappears in the system, mark it as system error and close the window. Reyes flips the binder shut and rubs her eyes. The station is quiet, except for the hum of computers and the faint hiss of fog against the windows. She still performs daylight checks, out of duty. Not curiosity, but admits she never lingers. We tell the new recruits it's about terrain, she says. Drainage issues, unstable soil, old routes. It's easier than explaining the truth. That it's not broken, it's active. Internal logs, 2019 to 2024. Date-time entry. March 17, 1902. Footsteps reported 15 meters north of creek. No tracks on inspection. July 22, 2018-56. Radio feedback loop. 3 voices repeating same phrase at 12.3 s intervals. The 11th of April, 1851 compass deviation exceeded 10 degrees, marked boundary, and withdrew. The 3rd of August, 1859 soil disturbance detected. No prints, no drag marks. February 14, 1905 auditory mimicry recorded Chen calling Reyes, though Chen was at station. Every log ends with the same line. Followed unwritten protocol, no further action. Ranger Chen's marginal note, scrawled beside one of the entries. It's not dangerous, it's just learning. Reyes has read that line dozens of times. She never asked what he meant, and Chen never explained. Educational Insert 4. Why Rangers Make Their Own Rules. The U.S. Park Service acknowledges certain terrain anomalies informally known as shadow zones, areas where equipment and human orientation both fail. In dense forests, magnetic deviation greater than 7 degrees is enough to warrant an internal no-entry rule. These zones rarely appear on public maps. They're cataloged in ranger manuals under neutral language, restricted for maintenance or ecological monitoring area. Beyond magnetics, isolation and stress can alter how the human brain processes sound. In the wilderness, every sense sharpens to survive. But prolonged silence, heavy fog, or repetition, wind patterns, water drips, insect cycles, can cause auditory hallucination or pareidolia. The mind fills gaps with familiar voices. Under the wrong conditions, that line between perception and pattern recognition blurs. Rangers call it echologic. You think you hear what the forest wants you to hear. These psychological distortions, compounded with EM interference from mineral-rich soil, explain most reported mimic phenomena across national parks. Most. Reyes scrolls through the digital logbook. The entries flicker, old data stacked against new UI updates. The maps overlay like geological strata, old paper scans fading into high-resolution satellite grids. Every version still shows the same green dot beside the creek. Campsite 7, available, all dates. She highlights it, types in system error, and hits enter. The word appears on screen for 3 seconds before disappearing again. The status returns to green. She exhales slowly. We stopped asking what it is, she says, voice quiet beneath the hum of the monitors. We learned to keep it where it wants to be. Outside, the fog thickens. A single droplet slides down the glass. The forest beyond looks motionless, calm, almost listening. Inside the station, a notification pings once on the computer. New reservation, Campsite 7, confirmed. Reyes doesn't open it. She just closes the laptop, turns off the light, and walks away. The treaty. By the time the Rangers tried to erase Campsite 7 completely, it had already become something they managed, like erosion or wildfire season, something you prepare for, not defeat. The last official attempt came in autumn of 2019. A maintenance crew was dispatched with one task: dismantle the old fire ring and regrade the soil for reclamation. The report reads like routine work: clear debris, pull the stones, reseed the area. But nothing about Campsite 7 ever stayed routine for long. They finished the job by late afternoon. By sunset, the site looked ordinary again, bare ground beside the creek, ring stones piled near the trail for removal. Then the calls started coming in. Ranger Log, October 17, 2019, 1924. Hikers at Campsite 6 reported voices after dark. Described hearing someone saying their names from across the water. Second group at Campsite 8 described footsteps circling their tent. Both reports came within 3 minutes of each other. Rangers hiked out at dawn to investigate. Campsites 6 and 8, each roughly 200 yards from the cleared area, showed the same signs once unique to 7. Smooth soil, bark stripping at 6 feet height, and the faint smell of smoke, though no fires had been lit. When the Rangers returned to the former site of 7, the fire ring had reassembled itself, stones perfectly aligned in a circle, no footprints leading in or out. That's when they stopped trying to remove anything. "We didn't win," Reyes says in the voiceover, her tone calm but weighted. "We negotiated." They realized that containment worked better than confrontation. The rule stayed simple: no campers, no tampering, no questions. And in return, whatever was tethered to that patch of earth stayed put. Now, the site exists in quiet equilibrium, a green dot on a map that no one touches. A kind of wilderness treaty. Educational Insert 5. Safety Lessons from the Shadows. While the Redwood Creek incidents sound extraordinary, their practical lessons are simple, grounded in field safety. 1. Verify your campsite assignment in person. Never rely solely on online systems for remote wilderness locations. Database errors can misplace you miles from intended zones or into restricted areas. 2. Respond cautiously to voices or sounds you can't confirm. Auditory mirages are real. Fatigue, fog, and echo chambers can mimic human tone and distance. The safest response is to pause, orient, and call for confirmation over radio, not by voice. 3. Maintain regular daylight check-ins. 90% of lost hiker cases occur after dusk. Radio contact every 30 to 60 minutes during daylight ensures recovery windows remain short if disorientation sets in. 4. Respect local, unwritten rules. They often exist because someone learned something the hard way. Final field log. Recorded entry. Ranger S. Reyes. Some sites don't want to be forgotten. We don't close them. We don't rebuild them. We just leave them alone. It's not fear, it's respect. Every ranger here understands the pattern. Every one of us keeps the same lie ready for the next visitor who asks, "Sorry, that site's under maintenance." Because if we ever stop lying about it, maybe it stops listening. The camera pans across the empty ranger office. The map glows faintly on a computer monitor, fog curling outside the window. On screen, the reservation grid refreshes one last time. Campsites 1 to 6, 8 to 43, reserved. Campsite 7, available. A cursor hovers over the button, Book Now. The display flickers, briefly replacing the text with a single word. Confirmed. Then, the screen goes dark. Voiceover. Campsite 7 stays available, always, and that's how we keep the peace.